really hate the fact that African parents use so much time and energy to turn their daughters into wives. We are trained to become wives. Why their sons are just useless cockroaches roaming the earth for free. Oh my God, Jill, that's so aggressive. That's so mean. But did I lie? The moment we can walk, matter of fact, the moment they figure out that our hands work, we're taught to start washing dishes. Why are you not teaching your sons to be husbands before they become husbands? Why do I have to teach your son to become a husband? Matter of fact, not even a husband. Why do I have to teach your son to be a sensible human being with common sense? Why? I know it's not all African men, but it's 99.9%, so...
Really? Well, the one thing I'd like to correct her on and correct anybody on that keeps saying things like this is no, they're not teaching the women to be wives. They're teaching them to be servants.
Let me finish. All right. The video you just watched is a demonstration of the level of hate a girl can have for a boy, especially when she has had her heart broken. But that's not what we're going to analyze right now. I'm going to try and analyze the points she tried to make. Now, the point she said that African parents focus more on raising their daughters to be wives as opposed to raising their sons to be husbands. Now, here's the thing. In a household, when you have a father and a mother, ideally, there are a lot of things that the mother can teach the son, and there are a lot of things that the father can teach his daughters. Now, the thing is, women teach their daughters what they know, okay? And so a lot of the things that a woman can teach her daughter, she can learn from childhood, all the way until she's a teenager, all the way until she's a wife. Until she's a grown woman. Whether she chooses to become a wife and apply those things, that's upon her. Now, same thing for a guy. He can teach his boys to be men from the time they're children up until they are men. Now, the thing is, what this girl fails to understand about the African traditional family is that as much as our fathers are considerably more present than African American fathers, there is a certain level of nonchalantness. A lot of African fathers leave parenting to the mother. And so you find that a lot of African boys only receive that masculine parenting when they get older and when they become men. I'll give you my example, my life as an example. My relationship with my dad, from the time I was 0 up until the time I was 16, 17, was almost non-existent. It only kicked in when I was somewhere in my 20s, did my relationship with my father improve, and then that is when he gave me the skills that I needed to try and become a husband. And the thing is, one of the things that this girl complains about is that she has to be the one to teach men to have basic common sense. Now, I very much disagree with that statement. And in my opinion, if you have to teach the guy that you're with to have basic common sense, then you are dating or you are interacting with the wrong guys. Like, there are a lot of girls who interact with the bottom feeders of men, with the worst of guys, and think that that is what every fucking guy is. The part that fucks with me the most is the fact that the older woman at the end of the video did not even try to bring in any type of elderly wisdom into the whole conversation. She just doubled down and said that women are being trained to be servants. The fuck? Learning how to cook, clean, is that really the only work a servant does? Is that really the only thing that you think of when you think of that type of work, the challenge is a lot of young women today believe that if you live by yourself, you're not doing any of these things. Are you mad? Is my question. Because if let's say you never get married. Let's say as a woman you never get married, but you know how to cook, clean, and do laundry. Aren't you going to be doing your own laundry? Aren't you going to be cooking your own food? Aren't you going to be cleaning your own house? Aren't you your own servant? The difference here is everyone gets offended when you add a man into the equation. And yet there are things that that man is bringing to the table. The assumption is that doing these things for a man is the evil part of this conversation. Like I was saying, the view that we have on this is that if you bring a man into the equation, it is automatically being a servant. But what these girls fail to understand is that if you get married to a guy, the house is just as equally yours as it is his. If you are cleaning, you're cleaning your house. If you're eating your food. If you're doing dishes, you're doing your dishes. If you don't clean the house, if you don't cook the food, who's going to do it? You and your husband can starve. I mean, he'll just go find somebody else who can, but you can starve. That's always an option. But the thing is, to be upset that you feel like young men are not being turned into the husbands that you want, first and foremost, it's fine. It's actually justified. Not a lot of guys out there are amazing. But, as a woman, before you complain about the men in your surroundings, try and change your circles for once. At least try and change the guys you're interacting with. Because one of the things that I have noticed is that when somebody starts to complain, for example, when a man starts to complain about poor quality women, you find that if you ask him where do you go to meet these girls, he's going to some of the worst places to meet girls. He's going to bars, dingy places, weird house parties, and he's meeting the bottom feeders of girls. And in his mentality, those are women. No, there are people who are raised properly. There are people who are upright. The people who have values and have a life worth living. There are people who are considerably better than whoever it is you're dating. There's always somebody better. And I'm not saying you should keep jumping from the next guy to the next guy or the next girl to the next girl looking for the best version. But what I'm saying is that there's always somebody better. And so, for someone to come up and make a video like this and call guys cockroaches and say that we lack basic common sense, man, first and foremost, before you make another video like this, in my opinion, 1, change the guys that you're hanging out with. 2, do some self-reflection as to what your role is. Because if you cannot come to terms with what it means to be a woman, and if you cannot accept that, forget about it. Forget about the dating world. Because if you still have an issue with making a meal for yourself and your hubby, you're going to have a very hard time out here. And last but not least, to the older woman at the end of the video, what the fuck? Like, I thought our elders were supposed to be smarter than us, but clearly they're not. So the next time we decide to co-sign on some bullshit like this, at least bring some elderly wisdom to the table.